Welcome back to Media City Radio. Today on Legend in the Game, we're talking to someone who spent his life serving the community, just in different ways at different stages. Luis started his career as a police officer in Passaic, New Jersey. From there, he worked with the Bergen County Gang Task Force, served as a school officer at Hackensack High, and even helped secure schools for the Ministry of Education in the Dominican Republic. Now he's helping people build wealth, not just safety. As a mortgage loan officer, Luis is helping first-time home buyers, families, and folks who's been shut out of the system learn how to get their credit together and finally owning something of their own. Whether it's protecting kids or helping people close on their home, Luis brings a unique mix of real-world experience and straight-up heart. He's not just about business, he's about legacy. I appreciate you pulling up today, Luis. What's been up, bro? How are you?
Good, my brother. Thank you. Appreciate you guys having me here.
Of course, we go way back, bro.
Yes, sir.
I'm grateful to have you, man.
Likewise.
So you've been on a powerful journey from law enforcement to now working in real estate, finance. What motivated that shift from protecting people to helping them build something of their own?
Well, I don't think once you're in law enforcement, I don't think you ever leave because you always have some part. I can't say that I officially left law enforcement. I took a little time apart when I went, like you mentioned earlier, to the Dominican Republic to work as an advisor in law enforcement related issues. And but at the same time, I was speaking before about this. I came across real estate as a part-time job when I first got my mortgage license and started real estate. It was a part-time. It was supposed to be part-time because I was full-blown into the police department. And little by little, it became a second full-time job. So my phone was off the hook. I was barely sleeping. And whenever I was on a break on one thing, I was taking care of another. So, but it's one thing that I compare both is that both careers, you're both helping families. You're changing lives and you're educating because there's certain things that I've learned through real estate, being as a mortgage loan officer, that I didn't know before. So each day is an educational day, and you try to, any education you get, you try to spread it with whoever comes across your path.
How did you get the opportunity to do the job in DR?
The job in DR came across because I had a relative of mine who's working in the government, and he knew my background, and he said, listen, we could use your experience in order to jumpstart what we're trying to do here. And he offered the job, and it was, I was telling that before that it was, when I took that, when I made that leap, I guess, it was rough times, man. It was rough times. It was in the middle of the George Floyd protests. If you remember, we had COVID, and we had the George Floyd protests, so it was crazy people protesting. It was a little wild. But then aside from that, on a personal note, I was going through it because I was going through it at work with nonsense. I was going through it at home with the person that I was seeing at the time. And then on top of that, I was going through it because it was almost the latter stage of my mom when she was going through the Alzheimer's. So it was like I felt like now that I look at it, and I spoken to a physician, I was going kind of through a depression. I didn't even know about it. And it was the worst thing about it because I didn't talk to nobody about it, but I was out there doing what I had to do and producing and everything, but I was going through it. So then that was offered to me, and it was like almost like it was a breath of fresh air. Like, all right, I'm stepping away from everything, and I'm gonna go start something new, which I've been doing that for the past 3 years. But at the same time, I've learned, like, you know what? One thing, the hardest thing was being away from my kids, which I've always been close to. But I felt that I wasn't the best for them at the time. And second of all, I kind of I loved again. I had I loved again what I left behind, which was police work and even just smiling and just being myself again, which I kind of, not too many people knew, but I kind of wasn't. You know, I had a smile when I had a smile, but then behind closed doors, that's when it got rough. So that was one of the best things, believe it or not. Stepping away, being away for a little bit, and I kind of found myself again.
First of all, my condolences. You know,
Yeah,
with your mom.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that takes courage to just even express all that. You know.
Yeah. Not you know, it's something that not too many people knew, and I never really talked about it. Now I talk about it easier now because it's like, again, I went through, I healed. You know what I mean? It was the, you know, during those times it was, you know, I can't say it was dark, but it was definitely gloomy. They were definitely gloomy.
When you were working as a juvenile detective and a school officer, you were close up with some of the toughest challenges on young people face. How do you shape how you approach families and communities now, especially in the mortgage space?
Well, one thing is, I'm a true believer. I know the NYPD has it on their cars, man. Is you know, it's courtesy and respect. You know, one of the things that, like I said, I look at it, although it's two different worlds, but it has a lot of similarities because you're dealing with families, both worlds. On the law enforcement side, you know, sometimes you have to, even if your child did something wrong or whatever, or there's a situation going on, you can't go in there just because you're the law enforcement aid. You can't go in there and trying to like belittle people. You know, give them respect. One of the things I've always tried to do is kind of treat people the way I want my family treated, and that's kind of what brought me success in my career. And it's the same thing on the mortgage world. You know, you try to, somebody comes in and they need assistance for a mortgage, instead of me trying to like take advantage and make more on the commission. Listen, this is, maybe try going this route because you might save some money. And then, because at the end of the day, especially that's the difference in the mortgage world. On the mortgage world, you live by referrals based on the work you do. So if you take care of people, people are going to let other people know, tell a friend, tell a family member, you know what, Luis Furcal, he's going to look out for you. So, and in the police world, you know, that's how, believe it or not, I gained a lot of information because people felt comfortable in coming and talk to me and say, yo, Lou, this is what's going on, you know, this. And that's kind of how I've had success in my careers.
Yeah, I say the same thing. My business been built on referrals since day one. You know, you treat people the way you want to be treated, and your business should thrive.
You'll be surprised.
Mm-hmm. So you and I first met when you were still in law enforcement, and even back then, you had a way of connecting with people, especially the youth. Do you remember a moment that really stuck out with you and pushed you towards wanting to serve differently?
Yeah, well, as far as dealing with the youth, it was something that I look at it like the reason why I got into law enforcement. The reason I got into law enforcement, quick story, was that when I was in high school, my guidance counselor, she kind of set me up, and I thank her for that. Ms. Eckstein. When she asked me, what would you want to do after high school? And I said, I want to be a gym teacher. I thought, you know, go to school, come back, gym teacher is easy. It can't be that hard. No disrespect to gym teachers. And she goes, what's the last thing you want to do? I go, be a police officer. So she goes, oh, you know what? I have a good internship for you. She sends me, she goes, here, take this letter, go to City Hall. So I go to City Hall. At the time, Mayor Semler, Margie Semler, God rest her soul, she was the mayor at the time. So she sends me to her office. She goes, oh, you're the intern. I said, yes, I'm thinking I'm going to be an intern for the mayor. She walks me over, City Hall, we walk over. We're going to the police department. I'm still thinking that I'm just getting an ID from the police. So she walks me up. She walks me through the police station. They walk me upstairs, and now I'm in the chief's office. At the time, the deputy chief was Wolak, Richard Wolak. And she goes, oh, okay, you'll stay here. All right. And I'm like, why the police station? So then all of a sudden the chief goes, I never forget, a tall guy with glasses, mean looking, but great guy. He goes, so whatever you hear here, you don't repeat. No, everything you hear is confidential. Okay. I'm like, why is he still telling me this? Then he goes, you're going to report to, and there was a sergeant, still a great friend of mine. He's now an instructor at the Passaic County Police Academy, Sergeant Neil Hugmode. So he goes, Neil, this is your intern. Intern? I'm interning here? And it was actually one of the best decisions, best thing that ever happened to me. At that time, I was able to meet people that helped me look at police work differently. I remember he's a deputy chief now in Passaic, Lou Gentile. We coached PAL, Little League Baseball together based on that internship. That was part of my work. And then I was able to meet the actual chief now, Lou Guzman, who at the time always been like that mentor type in police and in life. And I remember Lou wearing, always wearing what they call it. In Dominican Republic, they call them chacabanas or guayaberas, whatever you want to call it. So he was like smooth, like Miami Vice type of dude. He was a smooth, and that kind of, and I saw another side of law enforcement. I didn't see like what people call like the asshole type, the asshole cop. I don't know if I could say asshole, but I saw another side, like the community service type, the community oriented. And they kind of like showed me a different type, and that made me interested in the job. And eventually I became a cop. And then even once I became a cop, I met great people that helped me along my career, like Sergeant Jennings, Wayne Jennings.
Great guy.
People might know him as
RoboCop.
Yeah, RoboCop. And, people might have a wrong impression about the guy, but the guy was straightforward, man. I remember.
He's amazing, bro. Good dude.
He's weird because he'll scream at you, but he doesn't mean it in a negative way. He means it in a positive way. And I got to learn a lot from him as well.
Yeah, he was a great dude, man. Yeah. He used to show me a lot of love. I used to, because he always be at McDonald's, and remember the studio was.
Yes, right around the corner.
Yes,
right around the corner.
Yes. So you worked at Hackensack High and with the gang task force. What are some of the patterns or needs you saw in these spaces that you think we still haven't addressed as a community?
Well, I think I know with the George Floyd situation, I know a lot of police departments went into community-oriented, community policing, what they call it. I think that's one of the biggest issues, man, that the schools and what I saw with the task force was that you see a lot of young kids get caught up in gangs just because maybe at home they don't have that fatherly figure or that person or that mentor, that person that kind of tells them like, yo, listen, this is what you got to do. You got to concentrate on this. If you're a sports guy, you got to concentrate, work at your craft, work at, sports. And I think now we're kind of, you're kind of doing a lot of community oriented, but I think we could always do more. But it's just that I'm a true believer that it takes a village to raise. And it's not just the police. I've always said that. I know a lot of people depend on the police for everything, but it's a community effort. And it's politicians, it's the ministries, the churches, it's everybody, and that's one thing we have to do, I think, in order to make the schools and even, I think bring down the numbers on gangs is just come together as a community.
Yeah, I agree 100%, brother. Now let's talk about mortgages.
Let's do it.
Because where a lot of people, especially in our community, get stuck, what's the first thing someone should do if they're thinking about buying a home?
Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to be realistic. We all want $1 million house. You know what I mean? We all want $1 million house. So the first thing you have to do is you definitely have to get pre-approved. And once you try to get pre-approved, hopefully you contact us here for Cal Mortgage, and we'll get you pre-approved. But that's the first thing, man, because it's almost, if you don't get pre-approved and you want to go shopping for a house, it's almost like you're window shopping at the mall. You want the most expensive thing, but you probably don't have the money to buy it. So you have to be realistic with yourself and know how much you can afford. And just because, let's say you get one thing I tell people is just because you get pre-approved for, let's say, $600,000, don't get a $600,000 house. You know what I mean? You don't have to necessarily get the highest house. You just have to, look at a house and be creative with the house. And maybe, buy something that's maybe 540 that might need a little work, but you put in the little work and you have your house.
Exactly. A lot of folks believe you need 20% or need perfect credit score to buy a house. Can you clear some of the biggest misconceptions about credit that you hear in the community?
Well, credit obviously is important. One of the things that I think hold everybody back, and at a point I was held back by the credit, is that without credit you can't do nothing. You're handcuffed. But you don't need perfect credit. I know for us, there's certain banks that allow 580s. Us here, we allow 620 or higher. But excuse me. But with that being said, credit obviously is something needs to be worked on and needs to be taken care of. But it's not. You don't need perfect credit. Like I said, you could do especially with FHA loans. Different loans, different types, and as far as down payments, you don't need 20%. Now there's so many programs, because obviously with the high interest rates, there's so many programs now that you could do with 3%. There's some programs that I've heard that 0 down, but with that 0 down, they'll get you somehow. Just know that. So there's so many things. It all depends, man. And one thing I've always said is that pre-approvals, that's when the pre-approval comes, and that's almost like a DNA. Everybody's different because a lot of it depends on your income, but 20% is not necessarily true. You could start with 3%, depending on your income, depending on what you're buying. And, 20% would be nice because at that point you get rid of the PMI. That's the reason why people say 20%. And you don't have to pay that extra mortgage insurance. That's about it.
For someone whose credit is not that great, maybe they made a few mistakes, what are a couple of things they could do right now to start turning that around?
Well, one thing you could always do is obviously, one thing I tell a lot of my clients is if you have a relative that really likes you, maybe ask them, put you on their credit card as a, not to give you a credit card, but just to assign you on there. That could help out. Also, see what's holding you back. See what's holding you back and come up with a plan. That's essentially, I think, what you need to do is come up with a plan. Say, listen, I want to get a house by, we're in June right now, or pretty much June. I want to get a house by November. So from June to July, I want to have this credit score and I want to have this money saved. So come up with a plan, follow that plan, and just see that plan straight through to you, when you get the keys to your house. So, either that or if you want quick, turnaround, find a reliable credit repair company. Reliable, because now there's a whole bunch of credit repairs. So somebody that's reliable, that has good references, find that and work with them, and you could probably get see quicker changes.
Thank you for that. What's the difference between buying a home for yourself or stepping into commercial real estate? Is that a space more of us should be exploring?
Well, I don't know if you call it commercial. I would call it buying a home for yourself or commercial real estate. I think now a lot of people, commercial real estate now, you're looking at a bigger, maybe a mixed use building that has, let's say, storefront and then residential. I see a lot of people are going into investment apartments, for example, for Airbnb, whatever purposes. A lot of people are going into that, and that's something that anything in real estate, you can never go wrong. Because one thing, real estate compared to like when you buy a brand new car, once you leave the car lot, right away you're losing money. Real estate, every day you're gaining money somehow or another. You're gaining some type of equity. So anytime, I wouldn't call it commercial. I call it more investment, real estate. So if you could, anytime you could do an investment real estate and build and set your personal, financial growth through that route, I think it's always positive. So, and if you have money like that to do commercial real estate where you're buying, storefronts and residential, hey, God bless you. Make it happen.
You coach baseball, mentor kids, stay active in the community, even after switching careers. Why has giving back always been part of your journey?
I think I'm a true believer in, I mentioned that before, Coach Wembley or Senator Wembley, however you want to call him.
He'll be here soon in a couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that should be a good one. That should be a good one.
Sir.
He's a good man, great knowledge. Coach Wembley always talked about something about a legacy. And I have kids of my own. And one of my biggest fears, I've always said, is that that somebody would tell my kids, you know what, your dad was this, something negative. And I think I've always carried myself in a way that I've always tried to give back. Growing up in Passaic, we didn't have much. And my mother, working in factories, whatever, did what she had to do for us. And I saw a lot of people volunteer their time for us through sports. And I think one thing, even as a police officer, it was the most rewarding part of my job was when I worked at Hackensack High School, believe it or not, because it was times, man, where you see, at least I enjoyed what society or even certain teachers were the troubled kids. And that's the kids that I had more connections with, because sometimes it's not, you don't talk down to them, you talk to them. If that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Although I was an adult, but I was young a while back. So that's how I felt. That's how I felt. I always giving back because I felt that my experiences growing up, and it's crazy that we're talking about this because I remember when I started at Hackensack PD, I was living, I just finished separating with my kid's mother, and I was living with my mother on 6th Street, the housing projects. And I remember when I started in Hackensack, like some of the guys there, they were like, "Oh, how do you live there? This and that." And like they kind of like
talk down
because I came from, and I'm like, bro, you don't understand it. It's like it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not where I'm staying. I'm only there because of a certain situation, but because of that doesn't mean I'm less than you, bro. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I tell kids when they act up, and it's like, oh no, but this. I'm like, listen, you could either be part of the problem or do what you have to do, and you prove them wrong. You know what I mean? And that's kind of been always my thing. If I could help one person change their life in a positive way, I feel that my life, that was my legacy in my life. And that's kind of what I've always endured and enjoyed in my life, is just helping others. That's been my calling. It's been good and bad in certain instances, but I enjoy that. And then, like I said, if God forbid, God willing, I hope he doesn't need me yet. But if he needs me tomorrow, I'm okay with leaving. And I know that I've done the right things.
Definitely, brother. My last guest that was just here said the same thing. Is about, if we changed one kid's life, we did amazing. And already I've been blessed to help, hundreds of kids that come through the facility, and even though I be feeling like I want to do more.
Yes.
My loved ones always say, bro, you still did a lot and been a blessing. Where, like you said, a lot of great people come from the hood. The hood.
What people consider is the hood, man.
And still be successful. And it doesn't matter your background or where you come from. As long as you work hard, anything is possible.
Think about the amount of people that you came across and the people that you're maybe work with that come from the hood but have successful careers, in life, and sometimes you need that, I guess, hood life to kind of realize, you know what, you know, I don't necessarily, I might come from there, but I could do better, and I could grow. That was just a starting point.
Exactly.
And I could do better now. And that's kind of that's what keeps you hungry, believe it or not. To not try not to fall back into that.
Repeat the cycle.
And continue in that life. So, I'm like I said, I've been blessed, man. I've been blessed from where I came from, my upbringings. It wasn't like we weren't rich. I could say
Same
that
here, bro. My family.
Yeah, I could say we had enough. And it's funny because now I see it in my kids are a little spoiled.
You wore a lot of hats, but through it all, you stay grounded. What keeps you focused, motivated, and even what life changed directions?
I think it's all family, the upbringing. I've never forgotten where I came from, and I guess the life experiences. One thing I've always said and considered, life is like a roller coaster, man. And I could tell you this, my brother, like, in this roller coaster of life, I've had highs, I've had lows. And one thing that I've learned in my lows that kind of like put me is that in my lows, there's not many people that call your phone. There's not many people that look for you. There's not many people that say, yo, Lou, you good? What's up, man? This and that. Even a message, even whatever on social media. But on your highs, man, I remember getting phone calls, Lou this, Lou that. I would get invited to so many parties, and that puts a lot of things in perspective, because I guess you really see, just because of maybe of a job position, just because where you at in life, people attract to you. But when you're just regular Lewis, and you're just you, the people around you that still are on your side, those are your people, and you can never forget that. And that's kind of what I've learned, and I've learned this the wrong way, the hard way. I'm sorry, because I was true believer. Oh no, that's my boy. Yeah. Nah, that was your boy because you was doing this, and this. But now that you're not doing that, it's not your boy. So, and that's and those lessons, life lessons, kind of, and like I said, my upbringing is kind of just always keeps me, my feet to the ground, and I carry myself that way. The same person, never lose focus on who I am, and like I said, especially my family, my kids. I fear that. I feel that so much that me doing something negative is something that my kids will know, and it's something that somebody could say, you know what, your dad did this, and he did something negative. If anything, I want my last legacy, or what my kids know from me, that, you know what, my dad was positive. So and so told me, look, even when they have their kids, oh, grandpa was, did something positive. So that's what kind of keeps me strong to the ground.
Yeah, I tell my son the same thing. When everybody's around you, when you're doing well, or when you quote unquote chasing the stuff that the world wants you to do, but then when you become a different person or a child of God, and everybody looks at you in a different light and don't want to be around you or help you through your trying times, So I have one last question.
Yeah.
If someone wants to work with you, learn about credit, or just understand the home buying process and better, what's the best way they can reach out to you?
The best way to reach out to me, obviously, social media. Furcal Mortgage on Instagram. Same thing, Furcal Mortgage on Facebook. And I have two phones. Actually, my first phone is 347-454-1906. And my second phone is 347-781-2390. And it's I want to clear something up. And it's just not, you don't have to necessarily work with me for me to help you out. Is if anybody has a question about anything, you could reach out, and we could give you the information. I know a lot of people, if you're not working with me, I'm not. It's not about that, man. If I could spread knowledge and help you out, and if you have any questions and get you out that funk or, get you out that doubt, and I could be of any help, feel free to contact me anytime.
I know that firsthand. First of all, thank you for helping me and my wife get our new home.
Oh, man.
You got to still come up and visit. I know I'm in the boondocks now, but you still got to come up and visit.
I was the snow.
It just finished like a few weeks ago.
No, you still getting snow for real?
Bro, it's still brick up there.
No way.
Yeah, man. It's always like 10 degrees cooler up there than it is over here. Yeah, that's what happens when you live in the mountain.
It was a tough. Oh man, it was a tough one, man.
And thank you for your patience. But even now, trying to help my parents, find a home and all that stuff. I know they be undecided, and one minute they want to go here, another minute they go there. But through it all, no matter how many questions we have, whether it's me, my mom, my dad, you always take the time, to explain everything to us so we better understand everything and educate us. So I know firsthand he's a great guy. If you're looking for a home, a mortgage, whatever, or just have a question, yeah, please hit him up because it'll definitely lead you down the right path. My brother, again, I wanted to say thank you so much for pulling up today. Thank you for all the times you supported Media City, whether it was events, making sure we were safe and nobody was doing anything stupid when they saw the officer at the door.
Yeah.
Supporting me even with shooting your family, your children. You know what I mean?
Nah, thank you for that, man. Yeah. I still come across a famous picture up in Central Ave when my kids were small, even here. And, I appreciate you for always being there. And I appreciate you. And a lot of people probably don't give you the credit that you deserve. Like, I see what you've done for the kids, like from New York. You bust them here. And you do things that, you probably, a lot of it, you don't probably let people know what you're doing. But you're making changes, man. You changed. I'm sure you've changed more than one life.
Thank you, brother.
I'm sure you changed more than one life.
Appreciate that. We're about to drop a promo reel about all that stuff, too, especially my 50th coming up on the 11th.
Okay.
So bring more awareness to it because, again, we've done all this always from the bottom of our heart. Financial gain. Now we need some help, so we're going to ask for donations.
Let me know anything I could be of any help. If whatever, I'm here. You already know.
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you for pulling up, brother. Much love. God bless.